Hello Freedom family. This video is basically a conclusion or a summary of my Queensland tour that I recently did over the last 3.5 weeks with my dad. So we went from Brisbane to Cairns and back to Brisbane and then out to Toowoomba and back, and we had about 19 events and definitely over 1,000 people that we've met face to face, one-on-one, shaked hands with, hugged, broken bread with, things like that. So it was a very intimate experience. And because of that, I can tell you things about the freedom movement that no one else knows. Now that's Queensland, and I'll talk about that in a second. Now next I'm going to do Victoria, South Australia, and then Western Australia and New South Wales. I'll get to you, I promise. And I'll also get to Tasmania and Northern Territories. But Australia is a really, really big country, and I'm driving and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of driving and stuff like that. So I'm coming, I promise, just be patient. But Victoria is next in February, and then I'm going to move across the South Coast. But I want to explain to you, what it's all about is I promise that you will leave the event feeling more positive than you came, okay? It is not a doom and gloom talk. It is not, we're not rehashing on all the things that we already know. We're not, misery loving company. We're not doing that. We're talking about the future. We're talking about community and things like that. And based on that, I will say with Queensland is my synopsis of the Queensland freedom movement. Well, firstly, I had 19 events in a very short period of time with hardly any lead time. So everything was last minute. That's how many groups were able to organise an event at such a last minute. And Cairns was 160 people. We had Bundaberg, which was 90 people. We had Moreton Bay, which was also over 100 people. So some of these groups were really large, and they were organised at a short space of time. And also at those meetings, at least 3, maybe 4 different groups were represented at those meetings. So that means potentially we touched, maybe 60 or even 70 or 80 groups just within Queensland. Now, what's interesting about the Freedom family is that we don't like top-down hierarchies, okay? So we don't like big organizations with all these structures and things like that. We're freedom people. We want to do what we want to do. And we know that big organizations can be infiltrated, they can be corrupted, and usually they do get corrupted once they get too big. So there are all these freedom groups privately in these small towns, and they don't want you to know who they are. They want to stay small, they want to stay focused. And also when groups get above 30 or 40, they get quite hard to manage, and then they can have factions and things like that. So the point I'm trying to say is that there are a lot more groups out there than you could ever imagine. They're not on Facebook, they're not even on Telegram, they're not even on Signal. They're doing their own thing. They've got their community gardens, they've got their swaps, they do these things, and no one knows who they are. But if a crisis happens, they're all going to come together. They're going to look for each other. Now, the thing about Queensland is that, well, firstly, things grow very quickly here. So they're less worried about, food shortages and things like that. You might not get the packaged things that you probably shouldn't be eating anyway, but you're always going to be able to grow stuff in Queensland. And what I've noticed is a lot of people have come from the south, so from Victoria or from New South Wales. They've moved to Queensland intentionally to have an alternative lifestyle, which I think is what is happening is that Queensland is becoming like the Florida of Australia. It's actually becoming an alternative state. It's becoming a place where I think freedom family people are going to want to move to. I mean, if the world goes to, then at least they're going to be hot up here. They're going to be warm and they can grow stuff. And the amount of people that have moved from Melbourne, like we call them Victoria escapees, that have moved to Queensland is enormous. Like some of the events, there's been 25% of the people have moved from Victoria. So, and people are moving, like I said, they're moving intentionally to have a different lifestyle, because what we've realized during the lockdowns and stuff is that some things in life are worth more than others. And having a fancy house in a suburban street with all the bells and whistles means less to people now than living an alternative lifestyle in the country, having privacy, having things to grow and things like that. So what I find is happening in Queensland is alternative people are moving in, which could in turn actually push out the asleep people. And we might be creating here in Queensland, they might be creating a completely alternative estate that's going to withstand a lot of whatever's going to come next. So that's what I felt in Queensland. I did not feel the fear. A lot of people are using cash because they don't have EFTPOS, they don't have a reception like up and down the coast there on the north coast. And, the Queensland people are just very Australian, very ochre, very, you know, alternative, and very welcoming and kind and nice and all that sort of stuff. You know, I traveled Europe recently as well, so I've become an expert on the freedom movement. I can tell you what kind of people we're a part of, what kind of community we're a part of, and I can tell you now, I'm so proud to be in this freedom family because everyone is just like dressed well, they've got normal jobs, they're just normal people who just want to have a better life for their kids and for them and for their grandkids and for future people. And they're genuine. They just want to help people. They just want life to be better. And it's so nice to be around these types of people because it makes me proud of the community that I'm in. You know, once in a while, the mainstream media obviously puts smear campaigns out about the freedom movement. And sometimes it can have people thinking, do I actually belong in this movement anymore? Yes, you do. Don't worry. That is not what people are like. I've met them. I've met thousands of them face to face, handshaken, broken bread with them, and I can tell you that you are a part of a community that is very, very kind, warm, and genuine, and you should be proud to be a part of this community. I am, and I've met them, so you can take what I say and believe me, because it's true. I've done the hard yards. You know, not many people have the lifestyle that I do to be able to meet people face to face like this, so I'm so glad to be able to spread this information because we are on the right side here and we are a part of something really beautiful, and our communities are growing every single day. I just hear stories all the time of people waking up and things like that. Although now is not really the time to wake people up en masse, of course, but it's happening gradually anyway. And you know, once people wake up, they never go back to sleep. Now's not the time to like try to wake people up en masse, but I really think it's important that you focus across Christmas, focus on what you've got. Be happy with what you've achieved during this COVID crisis and after it. Focus on those communities that you've built because that is going to give you the strength to say no when the next crisis happens and to support each other. So that is my conclusion of Queensland. I could still have some more events here. We did get washed out in Brisbane, so maybe we need to have another event, and I might have another event up in Milani in the north after Christmas. But, you know, I'll be in Victoria in February, South Australia in March, and Western Australia in April. That's the idea. You know, stay tuned, and it's going to be a really fun ride. And I hope that my mission of inspiring people to be ready and to be strong and to not be afraid, I hope that that's working. I'm just going to keep traveling around, and thank God I've got my book because it gives me the confidence that I've got something to share, that I'm not just coming there to waffle on and for nothing, but at least I can impart the things that I've said in a book form, and it kind of gives me license to travel around, and it also helps to pay for my costs of traveling around because it's expensive. Have you seen the price of petrol and diesel? Anyway, that's enough from me, guys. Merry Christmas. I have a Merry Christmas video coming out soon as well. But otherwise, thank you, Queensland. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for allowing me to continue to travel by purchasing the book and other things. So see you guys.